Welcome to TRL Radio with your hosts, Eric and Michelle Hall.
Your average Joe experts in simplified health. Welcome back to TRL Radio, and we are your hosts, Eric and Michelle. We're glad you're with us today. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about the daily habit of ours that really is an unsung superhero.
Yeah, and what we mean by that is it's something we do every day, but we don't think about the benefits or even necessarily feel the benefits on a daily basis unless we really start to think about it.
Right. So as we're recording this right now, it is quote unquote cold and flu season in Western New York, meaning basically it's the winter months, you know. We can talk all about why cold and flu season is cold and flu season, and it's not for the reason you think it is. But anyhow, but people are getting sick. You teach, people are getting sick. Kids, all kinds of coughing and germs and snot and grossness.
Yeah, disgusting.
Yep. Fourth graders. But when you stop and think when's the last time I had to call into work for being sick? Or when's the last time that I was just slammed in bed, couldn't move because I was sick?
Right. Even if you get sick, it's not as bad as it used to be. It's
right.
Oh, I might be down for a day, or I might feel a little icky,
right.
But then, okay, I'm actually okay. I can keep moving still.
Yeah, things that knock people out for a week, you're like, okay, yeah, that definitely, for a day or so. And then you got to think, why? Well, it's this daily habit, among other things, but really this daily habit is the reason. And it's not like you get all these muscles from it, and it's not like after you do this habit, all of a sudden you're just like, wow, I feel immortal. That doesn't happen.
Right.
Like we were saying, it's not like Popeye with spinach where he, crushes the can and then catches the spinach and,
muscles everywhere.
Muscles everywhere. Side note, bonus points, Popeye's girlfriend's name, remember it?
I do.
What?
Olive oil.
Olive oil. Look at that. We have spinach, we have olive oil, just
all the good things.
All the kind of healthy good things. Anyhow, so it's not like that where all of a sudden you get this super boost of power, but it's this habit that when you do it every day, routinely, you get these benefits from it that you don't really notice until you stop and you notice.
Right. And so what is that unsung superhero?
Yeah, so it's supplementation. And so you're like, okay, well, supplementation, what do you mean by that? It's all these things that we do, these foods that we take as supplements to come alongside a healthy diet, healthy lifestyle, and things like that.
And obviously, we're the rudimentary life, right? So doing rudimentary things, if you think about it, our ancestors, so our great-great-great-grandparents, probably weren't taking supplements. So what's the deal? Why do we have to take supplements?
Yeah, I think you've probably, at least I've seen them recently, those Instagram posts, whatever, where it's like, oh, this is fine. I ate this when I was a kid.
Right.
And then it's actually well, no, you didn't. And it goes over the ingredients of what this thing was, like peanut butter, what peanut butter was when you were a kid. And it's 3 or 4 ingredients. And what peanut butter is now. And it's this super long list of ingredients and things that you can't pronounce.
Right.
What we ate as kids is different than what we're eating now. Take that back a couple generations, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our great-great-grandparents, the things that they ate were far more nutrient dense than the things that we're eating today. So then you got to ask the question, okay, well, why? Why were things so much more nutrient dense back then than they are now?
Right. And I think most of us would think, oh, well, obviously we're probably eating more ultra-processed packaged foods, and they weren't. And you're absolutely right.
Yep.
That's part of it. But literally getting down to the root of the problem is the soil. The soil that they were farming in is much different than the soil that we have now. That even when you're eating the fruits and the vegetables and all these things, it's not the same nutrient dense fruits and vegetables that they were eating years ago because we have slowly destroyed our soil.
Yeah. If you grew the exact same fruits and vegetables in the same location, the same place that your great 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 grandparents did, the nutrients that you would get from the stuff you grew would be far less today than they were, 3, 4, 5 generations ago. Okay, so why is that, right? Some of the reasons for that, right? And there's a whole host of them, but some of them are just nowadays there's a lot of just really bad farming practices, right? So one of the big things is monocropping, right? So mono, one crop, one crop. So in that crop, for most of the US at least, is wheat, grain, soy, things like that. That's what corn is. That's what's being grown everywhere, because 90% of ultra processed foods come from those things. Now, it's not corn like, as soon as you hear corn or think of corn, you think of, at least for me, I think of corn on the cob, right? So you think, oh, corn's not bad. Well, no, maybe it's not the most amazing vegetable, but it's not bad. That's for sure. But the things that you start looking at, these ultra processed foods, and it's like, well, that came from corn. And you're like, wait a minute.
Doesn't look like remotely like corn, or that it should have come from a corn on the cob.
Corn, and here's this ultra processed food. How did this get to here, right? So that's why a lot of those crops are being, monocropping. That's just not good for the soil, right? That's not good for the soil at all. Also, too, along with that, is that we're not giving our soil a chance to recover. So you think about that, like, why does soil have to recover, right? Like, when we work out, we recover. The soil needs to do the same thing, too. You need to take your crops and what you're growing, and you actually rotate them, and you say, okay, hey, this season we're not going to grow in this spot, and give the soil a chance to replenish and get its nutrients back. Problem with that is it's not great for money to do it that way.
Right. That would be the way that would be the sustainable farming. We're going to let the earth kind of recover and move it, but it's a lot easier to just keep planting the same thing in the same spot over and over again, because, well, if I'm letting it recover, that means I have a whole plot of land that I'm not using for at least a season. That's money I'm losing.
Right.
And so we get it, like in the world we live in today, like it makes sense to do it the other way, but it's not what's best for people, and it's not what's best for our earth.
Right. Yeah. And so that would be one of the reasons why the soil it's just exhausted. And so it's not nearly as nutrient dense as it could be. Another reason would be like factory farming, right? So you see a lot of these different labels on foods where it's like family farm. And so at least in my head, I think of like, oh, you have the cows and you have the pigs and you have the husband and wife that are like waking up and they're like, oh yeah, the kids go out and they're milking the cows,
little
right?
Johnny and little Susie are, feeding the pigs.
Yep. Shout out to Johnny and Susie. But and do you think, oh, it's a family farm? Well, just because the label says it's a family farm doesn't mean it's an actual family farm. Right. So we have a lot of like factory farming, which is things being done, corners being cut in order to speed up time, in order to yield a bigger crop, that maybe are things that aren't the most sustainable, normal, standard ways of doing things, right? And so this factory farming, also too, if you're getting, fruits and vegetables from factory farming, a lot of those practices, you're losing nutrients in those fruits and vegetables. And again, not great for the soil. Even something as simple as like water supply. So a lot of these factory farms obviously are emitting toxins and gases and things like that. And even when rain falls on these factories and then the rain rolls down the hills, it's all over the crops and all over the soil. And so a lot of this stuff that's even just byproduct of bad farming practices ends up polluting soil that's not even within its region, right?
Right. And obviously the obvious one I think that everyone knows is like pesticides, herbicides, rodenticides, all these different things that are being sprayed on the crops because they want to protect their money, right? That apple tree is their source of income, and so they're going to protect it from everything that could possibly, reduce the supply that comes out of it. But those things harm us. So they might be protecting, the apple, but when we ingest it, they're harming us. And we've heard so many people say, oh, well, I don't need to buy organic, bananas, we're going to peel the skin off and throw them out anyway. Okay, so if it's being sprayed with pesticides, think about when you put lotion on your skin. Does the lotion just sit on top of your skin?
Right.
Absolutely not. It absorbs into your skin, right? So what do you think all these chemicals are doing to the fruits? They're in the soil, they're in the roots, they're in the fruit. It's going right through the skin. No matter how much you wash it or peel it or whatever you're going to do, it's in there.
Right.
You're consuming
it's in the quote unquote DNA of
Right.
the fruit or vegetable.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, hey, wash the outside. Great. That's not going to stop all the pesticides. So you might think, okay, what's the big deal with pesticides and herbicides and we don't want those things on our fruits and vegetables. And I mean, yes and no. So if you have fruits and vegetables that are grown without those things and they have to kind of self fight off a lot of those pests and weeds and things like that, it actually produces a more nutrient dense, quote unquote, stronger fruit or vegetable. So, yeah, which is crazy, right? So the stuff you eat or what you get from those ones will be more nutrient dense. Well, that's what our ancestors would have been eating, right? Now, are you going to lose some of your crop if you were hey, we're not going to use that stuff. We're just going to grow it naturally? You will. There will be stuff that doesn't make it. So from a money standpoint, we get it, understand it, but it's not going to be the most nutrient dense. One of the things we heard about, you may have heard before, is this glyphosate that's being sprayed on all kinds of
wheat products
in order to sustain the crop and things like that. And really what that is, it's Roundup. It's the weed killer that you use at home. Is what they're putting on it. And if you look at that, if you were to go get that from your garage or your basement, wherever you have it, if you have that or you look, it's going to tell you not to ingest it. It's going to be, hey, this is poison. But yet we're spraying that on the food that we eat. Those things aren't good for us to ingest. So later on in the episode, we're going to talk a little bit about the microbiome, our gut microbiome, which is these microbes. Well, guess what? Just the same way that a pesticide is going to destroy the pest and the insects, that stuff, when you ingest it, it destroys the gut microbes, the super helpful, beneficial gut microbes in your stomach. And so that's where a lot of times you end up having a lot of these gut issues, is because sometimes the food that we're eating.
In fact, there's places in other parts of the world, we're talking from the United States right now, right? In other parts of the world that glyphosate is illegal. They don't spray it. They don't have a lot of the gut issues like celiac disease, which obviously is a very real thing. But there's other places in the world, they don't deal with that as much. One of the root causes they're finding that people are struggling with things like gluten and wheat is not because they're having a hard time breaking down that. It's the glyphosate that's on it. And again, I'm not saying that people who have celiac disease, that everyone, if they just stopped eating glyphosate. But it's something that maybe people who aren't prone to having that are because of the glyphosate that's in the food. Right.
So all of this to say, the soil that we're using is not producing the same type of fruit and vegetable that our ancestors, right? Like you said, we're the rudimentary. Hey, what did our ancestors do, a couple centuries ago? Let's do more of that stuff. Well, supplementing be a new thing. Why? These are the reasons why supplementing would be an important thing to do now that our ancestors didn't do, right? So that's some of the stuff in regards to soil. Another reason, you want to get into the next one there.
Yeah, absolutely. So even just think about if you are shipping, like we said, it's the winter here in Western New York. If I want to eat strawberries, they're going to be shipped in probably from California.
Right.
We're on the East Coast. That's West Coast. By the time those are picked, put on the truck, go across the country, come to my grocery store, and I go to the store and pick them up, the amount of nutrients that were in that strawberry when it was first picked compared to when I actually consume it at home, I can't remember what the exact number was, but it was it depletes by 90%.
Yeah.
It was a crazy number that.
Before you keep going, just think about it. The moment you pick your fruit or vegetable, it starts to die.
Right.
It starts dying, and it's there to consume. So the sooner you pick it, the sooner you eat it from picking.
Right.
Is going to always be better. Sorry.
Absolutely. No, so you're losing so many nutrients. keeping that same illustration of the strawberry, when strawberries are in season here, which is usually, I think, July, if you get a strawberry from a local farm, sometimes even picking it off the bush yourself and consuming it, the taste difference between that and a strawberry, even in the month of July that's shipped in from California, like you can't even compare them. The local homegrown strawberry that you picked that day is so much sweeter. It's usually much redder. They're smaller. They're not growing to these ginormous, strawberries, but it's such a better product because it hasn't lost everything in just transit time. And so I know we've mentioned this before, we work with a local farm and getting a CSA.
So let's pause. What's a CSA?
So it's, I can't remember what it actually stands. It's like a community. Basically, you buy a share of a farm's produce. Right. So they produce whatever.
Shared
agriculture, something. Maybe, I don't know. I can't remember the words now. Right. I knew them at one point. They fell out of my head.
What is it? Yeah.
But yeah, so you pay to be able to come weekly and pick up whatever produce is available that week, and they do everything in season, right? So I think actually this next week, is we have our last one for this season, and it's going to be all the things. It's a lot of root vegetables, right? Because it's winter. It's things that are growing under the ground because it's too cold. Berries are dying, things like that. But the farm that we work with, it was awesome because we were able to have an actual conversation with them. And
these are the people who are actually planting and tilling and
this is a family farm.
Yes.
Literally the people who run the farm, their house is on the property. It's a lot of the family that works there. And yes, they have some people that work there that aren't family, but when I go and pick up our share, most of the people I recognize, they know me by name. I'm actually going and getting to pick some of my share each week when it's in season, right? Obviously, I'm not picking anything right now. But I remember before we even started working with them, I asked questions and like, hey, what are your practices? Like, how do you farm? And they did so many amazing things. And like, did they check off every single thing? No. But it's hard. It's hard living in the United States to be like, oh yeah, we do everything, and here's this really reasonable prices.
Right, for these local small family farms.
Right. Yeah. They were like, we're not officially organic because getting that label and meeting all the requirements is costly. Like we just can't, afford to do that and also keep the prices low. Right. They're like, but we do as many organic, sustainable practices. And I get to see it. I see as they move. Oh, I picked blueberries here last year. Oh, this year I'm picking them over here. Or I picked, potatoes right out of the ground over here this year. Well, not this year. They're over here. They're moving things. They're letting the ground rest. There's certain patches of the ground that they don't use.
Aren't being used at all.
And again, they were just
and they're growing all kinds of different things.
All kinds of different things.
You get flowers from there.
I get flowers. Yep, it's amazing, and they're doing amazing things and doing it the best way that they can, while still providing an affordable solution. So kudos to all the farms that are out there doing that because they're trying to do the best, and it's awesome because they are so transparent. And if you get a farmer who's doing things like this, they want nothing more than to tell you about how they're doing things and to explain and to be like, oh my gosh, we'd love for you to be a part of this. That's the difference between maybe going to a factory farm and they're going to kind of keep everything close to their chest because they don't want you to know what they're doing. Right. Like,
we're actually able to like walk through the farms or the barns, and like see the animals and all the things. Like they do local things and bring in other vendors that have organic, sustainable, healthy practices as well. So we're able to kind of build this community there. So we use it's a farm called Greg's U-Pick. So we'll put a link to them in the bio. If you're in Western New York, we can't recommend them enough.
Yep, absolutely. If you're not, obviously, I'm guessing you're not going to like fly in to come pick up produce from Western New York. But I guarantee there are amazing local farms who are doing things the right way near you. Look them up, Google search it. I bet you can find something that will work for your family and your budget and all the things.
Yeah, look up CSA near me, right? Or something like that. And you'll probably find a ton of different options. You can ask questions. A lot of times their websites will go into their practices of what they do. Highly recommend that to get the for one, you're eating, like I said before, like as soon as you pick a fruit or vegetable, it starts to die. Well, sometimes like I wouldn't got to share with you, we've picked them and then had them for dinner that evening.
Right.
Right. I mean, literally hours later, we're consuming it. That is going to be the most nutrients. That is different than an apple that gets shipped from across the country.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
So what do you do when you can't just go pick things up? Like I said, like we're pretty much done for the season with our share because they're not producing things throughout the winter.
Then you get all your fruits and vegetables from, Lucky Charms and Fruit Loops. And
Something like that. No, but there is another good option for getting nutrient dense, especially fruits and vegetables.
right.
Maybe not things that you're going to have fresh. Like, okay, if I want to have a parfait, I'm not going to use this method because it wouldn't quite work. But anyway, just to explain, anything that's flash frozen, right? So you've probably heard of that before. If you haven't, that's where the farmers are picking it right off the bush, the tree, digging it up out of the ground, whatever. It gets cleaned and instantly frozen. It's a very quick process.
Right.
So if it's getting frozen right after it's been picked,
It almost like pauses time.
right, it's retaining those nutrients
Right.
from the time it was picked. So especially in the winter months when you can't get really fresh produce, that's a great option for you because, okay, I'm getting spinach that was picked and frozen and it's still going to retain all those nutrients.
Right.
Again, like I said, if I'm having a parfait, maybe I'm not going to have a parfait with a bunch of frozen strawberries and blueberries, might break a tooth. But like for most things, that's going to be a really good option for you too.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So this is why supplementing is important. We're not getting the nutrients that our ancestors used to get. So, all right, maybe you've heard of supplementation. There is the health industry we're talking $1 billion industry, right? And there's good, bad, and ugly all in it, right? And there's a lot of companies, unfortunately, that are in it to make money, more in it to make money than to help people.
Right. We understand they want to make money.
Yes,
like it's not a non-for-profit.
Yes, right, right. The farm we use, Greg's U-Pick, they're trying to make money. They're making a living, and that's cool. Like, I want to help them do that, right? So making money is not the bad thing, but when you start prioritizing that over the health of people, that's where it becomes an issue. And there are companies that are in the health space that are doing that, unfortunately. So there's a lot of things to look for that it's like, okay, like you can go to a GNC or you can go to the health, the supplement spot at your local grocery store, and you're going to find tons of different things. What to look for, right? So while we're not necessarily going to talk about specific brands today, we're going to kind of give the generalities of some things to look for, right? So when looking for supplements, you want to look for a brand that does these things. One of them is third-party testing. Right?
What does that mean?
Yeah, so that is that transparency. Like when you go to Greg's U-Pick, not that Greg's U-Pick is a supplement company, but just you're able to go see right there. Like, hey, you're the third party. You're going in and you're saying, oh, I see how you make this. I see what you did here. Obviously, if you're buying something off the shelf, you don't see that. So, but if you have a company that's like, hey, we use another company who tests all our products, who runs them through all these different things to check for the pesticides, the herbicides, the rodenticides, to make sure that those aren't in it. So we're not just saying it, we're having another company check us to say, hey, we've checked it, they aren't doing it.
Yeah, a third party that has no stock in the game, right? It's not like, oh, if this company does well, this company also makes money. Nope, there's no tie whatsoever. So they can be completely honest about their findings.
Yeah, right. So they test all the different things that are, all the different stickers and the labels that are on the thing saying that this is organic, there's no added sugars, no artificial flavors. Okay, well, let's have a third-party company test that. Right. So you want to look for a brand that does third-party testing. You also want to look for a brand that does things organically. Right. We've just talked about all the different reasons why we shouldn't be eating stuff that has pesticides on it and so on and so forth. If you're trying to supplement, which literally means, we're looking for nutrients to come alongside a lacking diet, you don't want those nutrients to come alongside with poison. Like there's just no other way to say it, but that's what it is. So you want to look for organic supplements. And guess what? they're not going to be the cheapest option. You can find good prices on things, so don't get me wrong. But it's worth it for your health. Like we invest in there's so many things we spend money on as Americans, as humans. It's worth sacrificing something else somewhere to say, you know what, I'm going to invest in my own health and to go with the organic in regards to supplementation. You want to go something that has, transparency on the label. So one of the things you'll sometimes see on labels in regards to ingredients is you might see like, proprietary recipe. You're looking through the ingredients and it's like, oh, it has this, this, this. And then it's like this like kind of catch-all that's like proprietary recipe. And you're just like, okay, I get it. Maybe it's the
secret family recipe.
Right, the Colonel's secret 12 herbs and spices or whatever from KFC, right? So it's the secret recipe. And so I don't need to know the exact recipe, but I want to know what you're putting in that recipe, right? If there's not transparency in regards to that, I would question it because you want to know. I want to know what I'm putting in my body. And if you're not willing to tell me, there's a lot of other companies that are doing things right that are. So transparency on the label. And you want the ingredient list to be all one food ingredients, right? Where it's not a bunch of these chemicals or weirdness that you're like, I don't even know what that is, right? Now, you might have some weird vegetables that you've never heard of before, right? That you're like, oh, goodness. But you can look it up and say, oh, that's an actual thing, right? It's not a chemical compound.
Yeah, as we started supplementing, there were different berries and things that were like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. I'd never heard of a camu berry before.
Right.
But it's real, and apparently it's really, really good for us.
Very good for you.
We're not growing camu berry bushes. I don't know.
Here.
Yep, that is a snake plant. But yeah, we don't have those here. Like I think it's like a very rainforesty type berry, right? And so I don't even have access to that to go buy it
at
fresh
a grocery store,
somewhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's something that's really good for us, and it's in a lot of different supplements. So I'm like, okay, I don't know what that is, but I can look it up and learn about it and see that it's an actual one ingredient food.
Exactly. So those are some of the things you want to look for in brands that do those things. But you want to stay away from brands that don't do those things, along with two brands that are including added sugars, added flavors, added colors, added chemicals. Like we don't need any of that. A lot of those things, especially when it comes to the added flavors and colors, there are a lot of times those are tied to or there's studies showing that they're tied to, carcinogens, which are cancer-causing agents. So why would you want to supplement for nutrition? And as you're doing that, like you're ingesting these, chemical compounds that are known to cause cancer in humans, right?
Right. We get it. If you want to take vitamin C, it doesn't need to be bright orange. We know you're trying to make it look like an orange, so it looks appetizing to our eyes, but that's okay. It can be gray or brown or whatever.
Right.
It'll provide much better. We don't need the extra colors and stuff like that in it.
And so look at you think about things that we've said before, like even with supplements, look at the ingredient labels. Don't allow the marketing labels to necessarily fool you. Even if it does say organic, cool, that's one of the things you want to look for, but also too, you want to look at the ingredients, right? What else is in this thing? If you start seeing, a lot of grams of added sugars, right? We don't need added sugars in our supplements. So those are some of the things that you kind of want to stay away from. Again, those are added sugars, flavors, colors, chemicals. In regards to supplements, like things to look out for. So comes to like the coup de grace, the big question of what supplements should we use?
Right.
And I guess it's kind of a weird question because everyone's so different. There's this bio-individuality that maybe you're really lacking in something that I'm not. So it's hard to do like this broad brush stroke of like, hey, here's the supplements everybody should take, or, because we're all so different, right? And so you can get all kinds of testing. There's all kinds of wearables now, right? Where you can get very specific supplements where like, hey, you're low in this, you're low in iron, you're high in this, whatever. All these different things to be able to understand what you should or what would be good for you. Yeah. But generally speaking, what we're going to share with you are supplements that you and I both take every day.
Right.
There are some other ones that I take that you don't, and there's other ones that you take that I don't. And that's okay. Like, I'm a 45-year-old man, you're a 45-year-old woman. We should have some different things in regards to our biology
Right.
that are significantly different from hormone levels and stuff where you're like, I'm going to take this. And I'm like, yeah, I don't need that. Right. So,
Right. And the things that we do both take are mostly things that, especially Americans, are all deficient in. And so that's, we'll kind of get into that. But part of the reason we talked about like farming practices and stuff like that at the beginning is because we are a food first family.
100%.
We always want to get as much of our nutrients as we can from food, like from what we eat. And so that's why we're saying, hey, we can't afford to buy every single fruit, veggie, every single thing we buy organic. I wish we could, but that's just not.
Right.
So we try to really focus on what are the most important things to get organic, and
Right.
what are the things that are going to have the biggest effect.
Right.
But we are food first. Try and get as many different nutrients and things from the foods you're eating, which is going to mean you're going to want to get some variety in there. But all the things that we can't,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
where
even-
we go to supplements.
Right. And so even just to give another point of that. So a lot of times we look at we like to simplify things. So you look at a potato and you're like, oh, that's a carbohydrate. Okay, it is, but there are a lot more nutrients in that potato than just carbohydrates. And when your body takes that in, that potato takes in that carbohydrate, if you will, it's taking in a bunch of other nutrients and taking out a bunch of other things that are good for you as well that helps your body to assimilate that potato to your body to eventually making your organs and the blood and all this stuff that's helping you move and run, right? So that's one of the reasons why it's so good to make sure that we're doing food first, is because it brings in so many other things. A supplement is like, not that there's a carbohydrate supplement, but like extracting just this one mineral and saying, hey, here's this one mineral, go get it, right? It's not as helpful as taking everything. So as much as you can, food first. You can look up for some of these things that we'll go over in a minute here of like, what are food ways to get this? Mm-hmm. You'll find a lot of these, it's difficult to find food ways to do it. And with our the way we're getting food today, we're losing out on some of it. So anyhow, yes. So what supplements do we take? Well, we try to choose ones that are most tied to not only just longevity, but where the science is saying that you're living long, healthy lives. Let's focus on things that are going to help us to live long, healthy lives. That seems like to make sense. So the first one that we take, this is the one we've probably been taking the longest. Right. Maybe the only one I think that we took when we were losing weight and
from
really
from the
very beginning, which is whey protein powder. Everyone's heard of protein powder. There's bazillions of kinds of different protein powder. We decided to go with whey protein powder. So tell us a little bit about what whey is.
Okay, so
this is WHEY, by the way.
Right. So you hear whey protein powder, you're like, what the heck is whey?
Right. It's a chemical, right? That's what I always thought.
It is not. You think about the little nursery rhyme, Little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet, eating her curds and whey. And the spider came, frightened her away, all the things.
Right.
Curds and whey. Well, in this particular thing, when you're making like cheese, during that process, you get the cheese curds, and then the moisture, the liquid part that comes away from it is the whey. So it separates. You get the cheese curds, you get the whey. The whey is the liquid that separates from the actual cheese.
Right.
So it comes from cows.
Right.
Right? The milk, the whey, all that. So it is a cow product.
Right.
The liquid version, it's not milk. I don't like, and I don't know the exact process
where it goes
it.
from that
Right.
to protein powder, but that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
Right. So you can get plant-based protein powder if that's, whether you want to be vegetarian or vegan, they have those different options too, which are great. We decided to go with the whey protein powder. It is a natural one ingredient food, right? Whey, that's, and it goes through a little bit of processing, not ultra processing, but there is a process to get the whey from the cow's milk. But there are accounts of whey being used even by Hippocrates, right? Hippocrates is known as the father of modern medicine, of him prescribing it to people as far as kind of like almost like this cure-all, right? This whey protein powder. So why do we take that? Well, for one, we are a very protein deficient society. And so that's why we do whey protein powder, because it's kind of just convenient. It's an easy way to get protein in. You have a scoop of it and you can bake with it and make protein bites, or you can put it in a smoothie, or you can do all kinds of things with
All
it.
sorts of stuff.
Right. Protein pancakes and protein brownies. Like it's easy to use. And you think with protein, ideally, we want to get around 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. So if you want to weigh 150 pounds, that's roughly 150 grams of protein every day. That can be sometimes sound daunting. Protein powder is a way to kind of help get that done. Some of the benefits of protein powder is it's great for your body. It's good for your tissue. It's good for muscle repair, hormone regulation. Protein is very satiating, so it's going to help you to control hunger because it fills you up. Lower blood pressure, lower cholesterol. It helps with immune function. So protein, you think about protein, muscles. If I want muscles, I need protein. Yes, but it does a lot more than that.
Right. Yeah. That's, I want to say, like, protein, both men and women
Yep.
need it. So, like, that's exactly it. How many silly videos have you seen on Instagram or TikTok, and like, oh, 1 more scoop of protein powder and then 5 more scoops of protein powder, and it's, so that I could be this big muscle head guy. And so women think, oh, well, I don't need protein powder because I don't want to be a big muscle head guy. That's not what it's for. We all need protein, and we are all protein deficient. It helps. Think about even, okay, women, are you on the verge of menopause? Guess what's going to help get you through that transition more easily? Protein.
Yep.
Believe it or not, upping your protein intake is going to help with menopause. I know, crazy, right? I would have never thought. But it's more than just for building muscles. It's for so much more. So eat more protein. You can get it. It doesn't have to be meat. It doesn't have to be protein powder. Eggs and
Right.
There's dairy. Greek yogurt is one that we get a lot
Cottage
of protein.
cheese.
Yep, cottage cheese. There's a lot of things that you can get protein from. Even if you're doing all those things, you're probably still not getting enough. So protein powder is there to help.
Yeah, perfect. Another one we use is vitamin. We use it. It's in 1 dropper, but it's vitamin D3 and vitamin K2 together. So you think about vitamin D. First thing you try to think of is the sun. Like, we get vitamin D from the sun. So why D3? Well, our skin takes the vitamin D from the sun and converts it to vitamin D3, which is the usable form of vitamin D, right? So if you're going to just ingest vitamin D, it's not going to be super helpful. D3 is what you have to go with because that's the usable form. What does that help with? Well, it helps with immune support. It helps with mood. It helps boost your mood, build bones, brain function, muscle support. Now you think, okay, why with K2? Why D3 with K2? Well, they kind of are like this dynamic duo that team up with K2 and D3 because D3 enhances the absorption of calcium, and K2 kind of directs the calcium to where it needs to go, right? So D3 is going to help absorb the calcium and say, okay, here's this like suppository of calcium, and K2 says, perfect, we need to send it here, 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 and here, right? So that's why D3 and K2 are kind of like a powerhouse in regards to that. And again, like I said, some of the things that's tied to brain function, muscle support, building bones,
Right. And that's one that we get and we use it on a daily basis. But especially the one we get, it lasts for like a year because you're using such a small amount.
Right.
So it's not crazy expensive to begin with, but it's even less expensive when you figure out how much it costs per day.
Yes.
It's like fraction of pennies,
Right.
because you need so little to reach the numbers you're supposed to reach.
Yep, correct. Yep. And we'll put links to all of the ones that we use in the show notes so that you can go take a look at them as well.
The next one that we have listed here is collagen. And we all instantly think, oh, well, that's like for skin and hair and nails, right? And yes, it 100% is. But it's also great for joint health, bone strength, muscle mass, and heart health. So collagen, not just the beauty supplement, right? Like, yeah, it's going to help you have nice skin and hair and stronger nails and all these things, but it's also helping the inside, those joints, bones, muscles, heart, all the stuff.
Right. Next one is creatine. So creatine, you think again it kind of ties to or can sometimes be lumped in with protein, whey protein powder or creatine.
If you want to build muscles.
And hey, guess what? Like creatine is great for building muscles, and it's great for reducing muscle fatigue. So that way you can work out hard again the next time. But it also has tons of brain benefits, right? It's great for focus and critical thinking and for brain health. So creatine kind of gets lumped into this like protein, like, muscles, right? And yes, but there's so much more than that creatine does. So yeah, we take creatine. And again, all these things that we're taking, vitamin D, collagen, creatine, is because we're so deficient in it. Right. As Americans, most Americans are super deficient in it, which is why we're supplementing with it.
Absolutely.
Next
one is magnesium. There are literally hundreds of processes and biochemical reactions that require magnesium in our bodies. And here's the thing. We are all deficient. Yep. I don't care who you are, you're deficient in magnesium.
Yep.
It's not in the soil like it should be or used to be. And our body needs it for so many things, and we are all deficient. It also is really good for muscle relaxation. This became very evident for me, just quick side story. When you used to start seeing those commercials for restless leg syndrome, right? And it would be like this person in bed and like they would have the lightning, going through their legs, not actual lightning, but like the lightning graphics. And I was like, okay, they're just making stuff up now. This is ridiculous. Like they're just trying to sell drugs for anything that they can make up. Until one day I was laying in bed and I was like, oh dear Lord, there is electricity running through my legs.
You had the lightning.
I had the lightning. The lightning graphics were real. No, but literally I was like, what is this? It felt like I wanted to like run, but I also was exhausted and everything felt crampy and weird. And I was like, I don't know what's happening. Because it wasn't like a Charlie horse, sure. Right? It was a very different feeling. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's real. Restless leg syndrome is real. But like, what can I do? And it was a while like trying to figure things out. And all of a sudden someone mentioned, hey, try taking a magnesium supplement for that. Literally the very first time that I took a magnesium supplement, it stopped. And the only time I've ever had it happen since is if I've missed a couple days of taking magnesium. Like had it every day for a while before I figured out what to do. And then taking magnesium made it stop. So if that's something you're suffering from, and let me tell you, it is suffering because it keeps you up, and sure. It's very uncomfortable. Try taking magnesium. You can either take it orally, or there's even lotions that have it in it that you rub right on your legs. Yep. And yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Magnesium also, with that, just in general, helps promote better sleep anyhow. So another one we take is omega-3. So omega-3s, a lot of times are tied with fish. That's where we get a lot of seafood, is where we get a lot of omega-3s from. In general, we're probably not eating a ton of seafood unless you live on the coast, which we don't. But so we're deficient in omega-3s. So what does omega-3s help with? Well, brain function, neurogenesis, improved heart health, lower blood pressure. This is one of the things that our body cannot produce on its own. And so it's important to supplement with it if you're not eating a ton of fish or whatever. It's going to also help with your immunity and improving that as well. Omega-3s are weird because they smell exactly like fish. Sometimes the best way to get it, the one that we do is actually like krill. So think about, krill at the bottom of an ocean or whatever, like is the supplement that we use. And it is... We have cats. Whenever I open up that bottle, our cats go nuts.
And I was thinking Louie today, literally, Eric was standing there
Louie
with
is
them.
our cat, by the way.
Louie, our cat, sorry. Eric had them in his hand, and he grabbed your hand with his open clawed paw, brought it over to his face, and was trying to shove his nose into the crook of your hands because he wanted to smell it. I was like, okay, fish or cats do like fish, apparently, but it is definitely potent to smell.
Yes.
You don't smell.
Yeah. Until you get used to it, it's a little like, even if you were burp, you're like, ooh, a little bit of a fishy burp.
Yeah.
But
that stops after.
Yes. Functional mushrooms, that's something else that we take, right? So functional mushrooms, you think about like lion's mane and reishi and cordyceps and things like that. Super good for immune support. It reduces oxidative stress. It gets great brain support, gives great focus and things like that. Just a really great thing to do for your brain with these functional mushrooms. You can get that sometimes in mushroom coffee. There's all kinds of great kinds of mushroom coffees out there as well. We actually have it, in a dropper that we use as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the last one we'll go over, I think this is the last one. Let's see here. Yeah, this is the last one that we're going to talk about, is kind of like our daily multivitamin, but we take it in the form of greens, or you've also maybe heard reds, greens, and reds, which is a powder. Like I said, it's kind of like our daily multivitamin. It's the one that we use is full of organic, one food, fruit, and vegetables. Why do we take it? Well, because these fruits and vegetables are ones that you were talking before about camelberry, right? There's another one called acerola cherry. There's something else that's called like spirulina, right? When's the last time you got yourself a slice of spirulina, right?
Yeah, no.
Exactly, right?
I don't even know what it looks like.
It's not something that we're eating, and I don't think you eat it in slices.
No, I don't think so. I think it's kind of like seaweedy type thing.
But so it's this different variety of these fruits and vegetables that you're getting that are, like I said, are full of polyphenols. What are polyphenols good for? Well, they're antioxidative, right? They're fighting oxidation, right? They're helping build your immune system. They're helping to keep you healthy. And so you have, like you mentioned, like camelberry, acerola cherry. Those are super high in vitamin C, some of the highest forms of vitamin C, which obviously we think about vitamin C, but always tie it into like immunity, right? Of like, oh, it's cough and flu season, right? We're going to make sure that we're taking a lot of vitamin C. Those are some of the best things to do it. Like you mentioned before, we can't go to our grocery store and be like, hey, I'll take a pound of acerola cherry, right? So because of that, we get these things in our supplements. Another one, elderberry, right? Turmeric, beet, cranberry, green tea. A lot of our greens also have like green tea in them, prebiotics, and then also digestive enzymes. So there's so much good stuff in them that we can't get other places, right? You can't go to your store and just say, hey, I want some spirulina, right? So again, it helps with inflammation, and this oxidative stress and inflammation studies are showing that it's completely linked to chronic diseases. So the more you can fight against that, the better, right? So we take greens and reds.
Absolutely. And so we do want to just pause and say this too. We just listed off 8 different supplements that we take on a daily basis. Like you mentioned before, the only one of these that we started taking from the very beginning, like when we were losing weight and stuff, was the whey protein powder. Since then, we've kind of gradually added some of these other supplements, like, oh, this seems like, this is one we're deficient. We've heard a lot. We've studied a lot on it. Cool. Let's add this one.
Right.
This was not a one day, okay, we're going to just start taking all these different 8 supplements. We added them slowly because there is cost to it, right? Like you said, you can either take care of your health now or your health will catch up with you later.
Right.
So the investment is worth it. But we do understand that there is an investment.
You're not going to jump in and be like, okay, what are all those? We're going to put links in the show notes. If you want to, you can click on every single one and go buy them all today. But you don't have to.
Right.
Like, take your time and see what works for you, right? See what you like and what you don't like. And maybe eventually you end up using them all or whatever. But
maybe the last time you went to the doctor and had blood work done, they said, oh, you're kind of deficient in that. Start taking more of this. Oh, maybe in this list we mentioned it. Okay, that would be a good one to start with, right? Like, start with what works for you and gradually add what works for you. And it might look different. But these are ones that were and are key to keeping us healthy. Like you said, it's not the can of spinach with Popeye that, I'm going to take all these and tomorrow I'm going to weigh 20 pounds less and have muscles, all over the place. That's not how it works.
Nope.
But you will notice things like, I'm not as sick as I used to be.
Yeah.
I don't get as sore after I work out or things like that.
It's the consistency. It's one of the small, consistent things you can do every day that's going to make a big impact, right? If I could recommend any to start with, I would say probably start with the greens. I think whey protein powder is a great one, and then greens, because you're just going to get a lot of bang. Talk about bang for your buck. Those are 2 ones that you're going to get
jam-packed into that powder.
Yep. So those are ones I'd recommend starting with. So for a rudimentary ritual, all right, every day we have our not every day, every episode we do a rudimentary ritual. This is when we talked about foods. We talked about like varieties and trying to get all these different nutrients. So for our rudimentary ritual, we have try new foods.
Right.
Try new things. I know, especially when things are in season, like we get weird fruits and vegetables from Greg's, and we're like, all right, let's figure out what to do with this thing, right? Or you can go to the grocery store and you find the weirdest looking fruit you can find and buy it and be like, let's go. We had this one that we had before that literally looked like alien eggs.
They truly did. They were like, was it the ones that were spiky on the outside?
Yes.
And it started it wasn't Rasputin, but
But
it looked like
yes,
that.
yes.
It looked like the word Rasputin. But they were like spiky on the outside, and then when you cut into it,
Super sweet.
it was very delicious. Weird texture. If you're a texture person, it might be a little off-putting, but it was like, it looked like an eyeball.
Yeah. Yeah. So
But delicious.
try new things. Like try new foods, different ethnicities, different cultures, different fermented foods. Like try different things. It's one of the things that we try to do and introduce. Not only is it good for you, great for your family, but it'll be really great for your gut microbiome as well, just trying new different things. So that's our ritual. Try new foods.
Yep.
Try new things.
And our recipe
Can kind of tie with that a little bit possibly.
for our episode is actually something that a friend shared with us. She lives in West Palm, Florida, so she probably has a little more access to all the really, yummy fruits and veggies year round. But she had us over for dinner, and she had pulled pork in the crock pot. And living in Western New York, when I think pulled pork, I instantly think barbecue pulled pork sandwiches, coleslaw, barbecue. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
the summertime staple.
So good.
Which is delicious. One of my favorite things. But she cooked the pulled pork, and it was more in like turmeric and cumin and maybe more Indian spices. And she had made some turmeric rice and had a whole bunch of ingredients on the counter where you could kind of concoct your own bowl.
Make your own bowl.
And so we had this turmeric rice with the pulled pork, and then things like kimchi, which kimchi is a fermented cabbage. You can have it spicy, you can have it mild. Never in a million years would I would have thought that I'd be someone who would eat fermented cabbage. Like that sounds disgusting. Delicious, so much flavor.
Right.
We had, what else? Pickled onions.
Pickled onions.
Arugula,
avocado,
I think. Yeah.
Greek yogurt, just plain Greek yogurt.
Radishes and
Yes.
so many
carrots, sliced carrots, just a whole host of different vegetables in this pulled pork bowl.
Right.
That was delicious, and mine was different than yours. There are also some of these different sauces and spices that you could throw on top of it as well that we had. And it was, for one, very simple because everyone makes their own.
Right.
I mean, as long as you have the meat ready.
Right. You just put in what you like, and then I think we had it with like naan or pita or something like that. We'll share the link for the recipe, but it's a very versatile meal because if you're like, I don't have, a big old pork butt to put in the crock pot and let it cook all day, just use shredded chicken. You can do ground beef and season it with some of those and do a bowl that way. Whatever veggies you have, it is a very versatile dish that is very filling. And especially if you have kids who are like, I don't want that. For one, encourage them to try it. But even if they're like, yep, after I tried it, I still don't want that. Cool, don't put that in. But try this thing. They can kind of customize it, which is nice if you have picky eaters.
Yeah, yep. And usually if you're letting a kid make their own bowl, they're going to be way more apt to eat it. So, so that's our episode today. We hope you found something valuable in today's episode that you can implement hopefully right away to improve you and your family's lives. If so, let us know. All right, put it in the comments, whether YouTube, Spotify, shoot us an email, info@rudimentary.life. We love hearing from you, love hearing your stories, love hearing how things are being helpful, and share it out on the social medias. All right, tag us, let us know how this has been helpful to you.
Yep, and guys, we have so much more good stuff coming. So make sure you're staying tuned to TRL Radio. Thanks so much for listening today. Make today an amazing day, and we'll talk to you next time.
If you want more of Eric and Michelle Hall and TRL Radio in your life, and honestly, who doesn't, head over to theRudimentaryLife.com.
There, you'll be able to find all the things, show notes, videos, step-by-step instructions for each recipe, more ways to connect with us and join in with whatever shenanigans we're getting into.
Yeah, and for extra credit, leave us a rating on your favorite listening app. We definitely appreciate all the love.
Thanks for listening.
And we'll see you next time.